I was on a TV show for 5 years about heavy metal music. And I was if you go and you Google me, this is like a secret, you guys. So if you're a Julie Solomon podcast fan, you will know to do this. Go and Google Jennifer Leah Gottlieb, that metal show, and you will see a totally different girl. Like like who is that girl? That is not you. And I spent the majority of my life pretending to be somebody that I wasn't. Because I was an actress, you're married to an actor. And so my whole life was based around going into rooms and waiting for somebody to pick me and tell me I was good enough, and then play a character good enough to have a job and make money doing it. And I did that successfully for a really long time. And I was in the mindset of, okay, pick me and I'll be whatever you need me to be. And I found myself with this job where I was Jen, I was myself, but I was on this talk show where it was all about heavy metal and I was supposed to be like a heavy metal fan, which I don't like heavy metal music. I never did. I never knew
I'm
anything about
shocked.
it. I pretended. I pretended I did to get the job on the show. I was like I studied the whole night before. I tell the whole story in the book. It's crazy. And I get this gig. And before I know it, I have built this huge audience of all of these people that think that I'm someone I'm not. And so I was being seen, but I was being seen with a mask on, with a costume on. And it's really, really, really hard to consistently show up as somebody that you're not because it's exhausting. Because you have to always be playing a part. And then before you know it, you've got this audience of people that think you're something that you're not. And so then everybody's expecting something from you that's not who you truly are. So I was suffering with this big internal battle where I was like, Jen, this isn't you, but you've got this great job and you should be playing this part because you're making all this money, but y- you definitely are not going to survive in life just being a heavy metal girl because that's not who you are. And sure enough, the show got canceled. And that whole time, because I was in this internal battle with myself and not knowing who I really was, I actually spiraled into a really deep depression. I was in a really toxic relationship with a guy that was completely wrong for me, but I was out of alignment. I didn't know who I was anymore, and I was kind of living in a very much reactive state. Like, okay, whatever happens, I'm just going to be who I'm supposed to be, and this is, I'm supposed to be with this type of guy, supposed to have this job, supposed to look this way, and I'll just whatever. I wasn't in control of my life, and I lost it all in like a week's time. Show got canceled. The guy left me for one of my friends, and I
Mm.
found myself in like this tiny little room with an apartment with like in this apartment with 6 other actors and like a window that faced a wall. I had no money because I'd spent it all and I had no job and I didn't know who the hell I was anymore. And I really wish that I could tell you at that moment I was like, "Okay, I'm going to start my life over and everything's going to be great." But that's not what happened. I actually got more depressed and it got even worse and it got even darker. And I was forced to really just like I didn't find personal development and personal growth and figure out who I really was and get tapped back into who my true self was on my own. It was because my back was against the wall and I had no other choice. And actually, my mom came into the city and I was so depressed she didn't know what to do with me. She gave me this book by Louise Hay
Mm.
called "You Can Heal Your Life." Have you heard of it?
Oh,
Book of
it's like
Affirmations.
one of like top 5.
It's an amazing book. At the time, I was not open to personal development anything. So I was like, "Okay, mom, whatever." And so she knew that. So she photocopied one of the affirmations and put it inside the book. And on the back of the photocopy, it said, "Jenny, I hope you find yourself again."
Oh.
And so I was like, all right, I'm not going to read this stupid book, but I'll put this affirmation on the refrigerator and I'll just read it every day. And I promised myself that was the one commitment I made with myself, that I was going to get up every morning and I was going to just read it out loud. And I really truly think, I don't know if it was the affirmation itself, but I think it was the commitment of doing the thing, of waking up and taking action and reading this thing every day and making that my commitment to myself and taking action and actually sticking with one promise that I made to make myself a little bit better each day. That slowly but surely got me out of the house and it got me going to starting to build my business and exploring personal development and reading books and listening to podcasts and slowly starting to change my life. And what's really, really crazy, let's talk about the book for 1 second, is you know who my publisher is, right?
Mhm.
Hay House. Louise Hay.
Full circle.
Whoa! Full circle. Completely changed my life.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a journey of not just being seen because I was so seen, Julie. Like I was like kind of like famous in this world of which I was in VH1 and metal music and all of this, but I wasn't being seen as me. And
Mhm.
my true success and happiness and fulfillment and nothing really happened for me until I took all that down and allowed the world to see like what I call in the book like real in all of my, like, imperfections and just who I am, and it was not easy. A lot of fear came up during that process, and we can dive into that. It's all in the book. That's why you asked me why I feel like I can write this book, is not only do I teach other people how to be seen, but I had to teach myself how to do it. And it's all just examples of me just living in that and trying and failing and trying and winning and trying and messing up and figuring it out as I went.